Kia ora everyone, my name's Zach, I love rugby. Welcome back to Hakatime Rugby. Okay guys, our reviews are done for each of the matches, and now I'm going to select the team of the week. Great first week. And there were a few players, there's a couple of positions quite difficult to select. If you're French, I think you're going to be quite happy with the selections here. Certainly reflective of a great performance that they put in. If you're Italian, unfortunately I've got nothing for you this week. Hopefully Italian performances improve and we actually get some players that we can select on. I thought the best of the Italians was probably the captain, Luca Biggie. I thought generally it was quite difficult selecting a hooker. None of them really stood out this week. And Luca Biggie probably came close. He was certainly good defensively, as much as you can say for a team that conceded 42 points. But they had some supremacy in the scrums and were going forward at certain patches, and he was a big part of that. So I'll certainly be watching more of him and hoping that we can see some better performances there from the Italians. I'll get straight into the selections though, guys. And please, if you like my content, it really helps the channel if you hit like, subscribe, because I'm dropping so much more on the Six Nations. And I'm happy to continue the Six Nations content if you're enjoying it. So please let me know if you're enjoying it. Subscribe to the channel if you are, and like this video. It really helps the channel. But let's get straight into our selections, guys. And we're going to go in the broad categories here rather than select 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 in that order. I'll go props, hookers, locks, in that kind of more rounded groupings of positions. So let's start with props. I thought the best prop on display this week was Rory Sutherland of Scotland. He was up against two Lions in Cian Healy and Tyke Furlong, and certainly was able to get some ascendancy. The Scottish scrum was going forward there against Ireland, and he was a big part of that. I thought in general play he was a nuisance, which is great, in and amongst and disrupting the breakdown. But he just had a good, solid game, and probably he probably shined a little bit brighter than some of his more fancied opposition in Cian Healy and Tyke Furlong. So big respect to him. He's my first choice prop this week. Second choice prop, I've gone with Cyril Baille from France. Again, they were getting ascendancy there in the forward pack and at set piece, and he was a big reason for that. I'm starting to like the look of this French forward pack, and the scrum in particular looks very, very competitive. So he'll be a player I'm sure we'll see more of the rest of this tournament, and I'm sure will probably feature a few times in this list. So, but he certainly makes it here this week. At hooker, I've gone with Ken Owens of Wales. As I mentioned, quite difficult to select a hooker this week. I don't think anyone particularly stood out. Could have gone with the French hooker, but Ken Owens overall, I thought was probably the most rounded of the hookers this week. I've gone with him there. At lock, two guys that really stood out for their physical play, contribution to the set piece as well, and also ball in hand, really, really dynamic. Johnny Gray and Bernard Le Roux. Johnny Gray of Scotland, Bernard Le Roux of France. Fantastic there. We're able to hold their own in the line-out as well. So really, really good performance by those two gentlemen. At loose forward, guys, I've taken a few liberties here. I'm not going 7, 6, 8. Instead, I'll just go general loose forwards. I've gone with Tipurac, who put in a man of the match performance for Wales. I've gone with Stander, who put in a man of the match performance for Ireland. And I've gone with Charles Ollivon, who scored 2 tries. The French captain was very, very good. So I think those three select themselves. The next closest for me was Hamish Watson of Scotland. I mean, Scotland were able to really disrupt that breakdown. I think Wales will be looking closely at the breakdown now because of the great work that was done by Hamish Watson and that loose forward trio from Scotland in particular. So he got very, very close, but with 2 man of the match performances, and with the French captain scoring 2 tries, it's very hard to look past those three. But we'll continue to keep an eye on Hamish Watson. I think he's certainly a player that will surprise a lot more teams with his ability to disrupt the breakdown through the rest of the tournament. At halfback, and I almost struck him off the list because of that unforgivable error towards the end of the match, Antoine Dupont. He was still fantastic. For 79 minutes of the game, he was very, very good. For 1 minute of the game, he made an absolute brain explosion, gave England an opportunity to secure a bonus point, which they did exactly. So that may come back to haunt in a close Six Nations tournament. Bonus points are so important. That might come back to haunt them. But overall, if we take that 1 minute aside, Dupont was very, very good. Quick passing, very, very good box kicking and general play. Controlled the match. And, certainly in the mold of the type of halfback that we like to see, gets into the air of the opposition, a little bit of niggle, a little bit of disruption at scrum time. He fits the bill without a doubt. At first 5, we've gone Johnny Sexton, scored all of the points, the Irish captain for Ireland. Scored a try himself as well. There's a lot of questions around how he would go as captain. I think he's answered a lot of those. Under his watch as captain, I think Ireland will be generally pretty good. And he's certainly not shying away from the pressure, taking it on his shoulders and scoring a lot of those points. Very well done there from Johnny Sexton. At centres, it was very hard for me to find an outside centre. You've got guys like George Northall playing out of position. Vakatawa didn't feature too much. That was a lot strategy driven. Certainly France were looking to kick a lot more. Ringrose injury. There wasn't a huge amount of 13s to choose from. Nick Tompkins came in at inside centre replacement. I didn't think he was, certainly wasn't a standout for me. I know other selections have selected Nick Tompkins that I've seen online, but for me, there's 2 inside centres that probably deserve the nod here. Gael Fickou, the defensive leader for the French team, certainly a great defence. A lot being made around the contribution of Sean Edwards, but I think the structures, the systems, and defenders like Fickou were already well established, and he in particular was someone that was able to pull that defence together. Great work by him. The other person I've selected is Owen Farrell, the English captain. I thought in a team that was really struggling in the first half, he was probably the best of the English. George Ford, wayward kicking in that first half. Ben Youngs, wayward kicking in that first half. Very inaccurate, going out in the full, putting all sorts of pressure on England. But, that second half of the first half, it was really the Owen Farrell boot that started to manage the game a little bit better and get England back in. And under all sorts of pressure in that second half, he was able to secure, slot some good kicks and keep England well in the match and just pull them back together, which is what they needed in that second half. So good work from the captain, Owen Farrell. Now, at the outside backs, 2 of them select themselves, the 2 wingers. Josh Adams, an out-and-out finisher, try-scoring phenom. He's done it again with 3 tries. So, he had a great year last year. He had a great World Cup, try-scorer of the World Cup with 7 tries. And he continues that form into 2020. I think he also got a couple of tries there against the Barbarians. So, he's a try-scoring phenom right now, guys. Scores a hat-trick, certainly deserves selection here in this team. The other person, Johnny May. Now, I've been quite critical of Johnny May. I thought that he was, more of a finisher than he is a creator. And it's very difficult to select 2 finishers, out-and-out finishers in a team. You need people that can create a little bit of X factor, like a Colby or, these kinds of Sever Reese. These creators that can be very dynamic and a little bit of X factor. I thought he lacked that a little bit, but he certainly showed it in this game. 2 great tries, had work to do, had defenders to beat, and was able to do so to really drag England back into the game. So great work by him. Those are my 2 wingers, Johnny May and Josh Adams. At the back, on debut, I went with Anthony Bouthier. I thought he was incredible on debut. Really tested from this English, the kicking duo or the kicking trio there. Really put him under pressure, but he stood up. His kicks in general play were fantastic. I thought the moment of the Six Nations Week 1 was his kick, 85-metre touch finder, when France were under all sorts of pressure to relieve pressure and put them on, certainly swing the momentum back in the direction of France. Fantastic execution. Was able to find space in there behind England and was able to capitalise to get them out of trouble and put them on the front foot. We're going to see a lot more of him. I thought he played very, very well. And particularly on debut, very, very well. I think teams will be thinking twice around targeting him, if they think he's any kind of inexperienced or that he may be a weakling in that back line. I think he's proving that he can be someone who could fit that 15 jersey very, very well. So we'll keep an eye. I'm sure we'll see more of him, both in this team and in the remainder of the tournament. So that's my team of week 1, guys. I'll do a quick recap. Rory Sutherland, the props. Rory Sutherland, Cyril Baille, at hooker Ken Owens. At locks, we've gone Johnny Gray and Bernard Roux. At loose forwards, we've gone Stander, Tipurac, and Ollivon. At halfback, we have gone Antoine Dupont. At first 5, we've gone Johnny Sexton. In the centres, we've gone Owen Farrell, Gael Fickou. Wings, we've gone Johnny May, Josh Adams, and at the back, Anthony Bouthier. That's it, guys. Let me know what you think below. Comment down below. Who would you swap? Are there any Italians you would include in here, guys? Who do you think was a standout Italian player of the weekend players that we should watch going forward. Are there any selections you would change? What do you think overall? Please get in the comments down below, guys. I'll be responding to most comments like I always do because I love engaging in the debate. And what I found during the World Cup and on this channel is actually a very high IQ from people that comment in the comment section. And I like to collaborate and bounce ideas. So every now and again, I'll see something that really sparks my thinking. I may mention it on the channel when I'm doing analysis. And I'll be sure to shout out any comments that catch my attention. But that's it from me, guys. Please like the video. As I mentioned, it really helps the channel. Subscribe for more Six Nations content because I'm covering it all. And that's it from me. I will see you again very, very soon.